Hey, podcast friends, Rhonda here, and today I will be recording a solo episode with 6 tips to stay healthy over the holidays. The funny thing with recording this episode, it is right now, as I'm recording, November 16th, and this episode will be released December 18th. So that is the funny thing about the podcast world. I happen to have some space in my schedule today, wanted to get ahead of myself with recordings so that I can take a little bit of a break and a breather in regards to the podcast over the holidays, which sort of ties into some of the topics we'll discuss today. So, as I imagine, I will feel a little bit more stressed and busy when this podcast is released versus now, although I can feel the to-do list starting to grow here in November. So if you've been following this podcast for a while, listening for a while, you probably already know my style and my approach. So the title might be a little confusing. It might appear as if I'm going to give 6 tips, sort of like shame filled. You must stay healthy at all costs throughout the holidays. And again, hopefully, if you've been listening for a while, that you know this is not my style, and this will be a little bit of a different approach to looking at health over the holidays. So, yes, Christmas time, the holidays can be busy, stressful, overwhelming, all of the above. And so, perhaps being a little bit more intentional about how we spend our days during the holidays might be worthwhile to just help us feel a little bit better. Any little thing, any little change we can make might just make the whole experience of the holidays that much more enjoyable. So here are my 6 tips. So the first tip is get lots of sleep and rest if you can. I know this is probably something to laugh at if you're a parent and maybe in the thick of newborn phase or in a phase where your kids just aren't sleeping well. So I understand that might not be a reality for some of you in the phase that you're in. However, use this time to get any rest that you can, even if it's not sleeping more often. We're usually lucky to have our kids home and maybe not working as much if you have the luxury to take some time off. And so, yeah, maybe just use the time to have some downtime and don't apologize for that. So don't feel guilty about taking those rest days. Sleep in when you can, stay up late, just enjoy that time with your family. And again, hopefully you can take a little bit of a break from work, that you can enjoy some time for your brain to rest and relax as well. And again, just enjoy that time without apologizing for it. Number 2, enjoy all your favorite foods minus the guilt. So this is something I talk about on the podcast. Healing your relationship with food, exercise, and your body is truly life-changing. It's been something I've been working on myself over the past 4 years. I shared on the podcast, I had a really challenging relationship with food, especially growing up as a gymnast and then into my 20s and 30s, sort of looking at food as controlling it in terms of trying to be healthy. But now looking back, recognizing how disordered some of my habits were and healing my relationship with exercise, recognizing that food is just food and finding that happy medium between, food is just food, but not just throwing my health out the window. So an episode dropped earlier a month ago with Molly Roberts, and we talked a lot about that in terms of, you can still work on your overall health and still heal that relationship with food without having that black or white thinking that some foods are good, some foods are bad. So maybe this is a time of year to start exploring that for yourself and what that might look like for you, and maybe not head into 2024 with your mind, obsessed and focused on what diet am I going to try next. So, again, I'm not trying to have this be a shame-filled message if that's something that you're thinking about, we are all on different journeys, and just because I don't diet anymore, I understand some people still engage in diets. So, but maybe just start thinking about it. Start just maybe questioning, how is that serving you? How is dieting, going through those yo-yo diets, gaining, losing weight, how is that making you feel? And recognizing and maybe opening your mind to think about that there might be a different way of looking at food. So maybe you spend some time this holiday season exploring non-diet approaches to living your life. And if you are interested in some contacts, I have some wonderful local contacts I can send you to, Molly being one of them that was on the podcast. Just to start giving you that support that you might need to improve and heal your relationship with food. So that's number 2. That's a big one. Number 3, ask for help. And reminder that there's no medal during the holiday season for doing it all yourself. So this is especially to folks listening that are socialized female. We live in a society that is changing. However, still a lot of the emphasis is put on women to do a lot of the household chores. And the holiday season can sort of amplify that if you have the pressure on yourself to have a clean house, have all the gifts wrapped, buy all the gifts, make an amazing, delicious, over-the-top Christmas meal. Your house is impeccably clean for that meal. All of these things that we have these societal expectations put on ourselves. Start to just question and think about what is important to you of those things. And if it is important, that's wonderful. Just ask for help. One thing our family does, and we've done this since Jay and I got together, we do sort of more like a potluck style dinner versus somebody responsible for cooking everything. And that works for our family. And I know, saying that, acknowledging my privilege, that is an option that I do have, and I feel comfortable asking for that help. Maybe culturally, that's not something your family does. So I understand that as well. But with that said, just explore your world, your environment, your cultural traditions, and see if there is some space in there that you can ask for help and not feel guilty or shame about that. It's just such a busy time. And if we can take a little bit of that work off our plate, that load off of our plate, it will just make for such a much more enjoyable holiday experience if 100% of the responsibility is not put on you. Number 4, set boundaries for yourself and your family and say no to the things that you don't want to do. So this is a little bit of a continuation of number 3, where just start to look at, some of the traditions, some of the things that maybe you did growing up, some of the things that culturally and societally we are expected to do during the holiday season. And just start to ask yourself, is this important to me? Is this something that's worth stressing about? I know Dana and I did an episode last Christmas, which I can reshare in the show notes, talking about burnout during the holidays. And one of the things we talked about is getting Santa pictures done. And, both of us last year just said, we're just not going to do it because it's just too much. Too stressful to try to book it, too stressful to try to make sure kids are dressed for it. ABC, just worth it, or makes more sense to just not do it. I will say that this year I am doing holiday or Santa pictures because I found a way to do it that was easy for me, easy to book, pretty inexpensive. So I am doing it this year, but that is something in the past that I just said no to, and I was fine with that. I will share one example this year for myself. So since I became a business owner, one of the things I loved doing in the beginning was writing handwritten Christmas notes or Christmas letters to my clients and sending them a gift card for Starbucks. And so that is something for the first couple of years of my business that I did. The first year, I think I had to do like 15, which I was super thankful for because that was just the beginning of my business. Last year, I think I did, 22, 23, which again, so grateful for, showed that growth that I had last year compared to the year before. This year, because I have different branches of my business now, I'm so grateful that my business is growing and expanding into different areas. I think I would have had about like 45 to 50 cards to write. And I was talking to my husband about this, just saying, is that something, it is important to me to have sort of that personal touch in my business, but is that something I want to do? Could I picture myself sitting down and handwriting 45 to 50 cards? And my gut was just telling me, no, there's just too much, too many other things that I have to do this holiday season. And it's a lot of work. Maybe one day I'll hire an assistant to do that for me, but I'm not there yet in my business. So this year I'm going to do something different, which I'll, fill my clients in about, to still give back, still show my gratitude for them for trusting me in their fitness and PDF creation journey. So that just feels right for me this year. So start to just look at those boundaries with yourself and with your family. If having family over this year for whatever reason doesn't feel good for you, that's okay, right? And so maybe just speak up and say, I'd rather go to someone else's house, so the responsibility is not on me. And again, that comes from a place of privilege that I can make that decision for myself. Maybe it's a little bit more challenging in your life. Just start to think about those little things, set those boundaries, honor your own needs. As socialized women, we are often taught and told to put our needs last, put our kids' needs first, put our relatives' needs first, put our spouse's needs first, and we just come somewhere last on that list. I challenge you during this holiday season to put yourself, even if it's not first, if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, just put yourself on that list, put yourself higher on that priority list. Tune into your own needs, tune into your own wants and desires, and start to get clear with your boundaries, even if that upsets other people. That's the tough thing with setting boundaries. It might upset people because they're used to things being a certain way in their relationship with you. But if you are honoring those boundaries and if you're honoring yourself and your own need, that is always going to be worth it. So it takes time, it takes being uncomfortable, it takes practice, but it is possible to learn to set those boundaries and feel confident in them because you're honoring your own needs. So something to practice this holiday season. Number 5, take a social media break or use the time to unfollow accounts that don't bring you joy and maybe follow accounts that are going to be more, bring some more improvement into your relationship with maybe food, exercise, and your body. So just being more mindful about who you follow, curate your Instagram feed, and just be a bit more intentional about that over the holidays. So I know for myself, this is something I've done. I think this will be like my 4th year where I'm going to try to just take a complete break off of social media between Christmas and New Year's. I am not seeing any one-on-one clients during that time. I will be checking in with my clients and True Coach during that time. However, yes, not seeing any one-on-one clients, and truly trying to disconnect from my business. And social media for me is part of my business, so that I have had an easier time having that boundary versus when Instagram was just like a fun thing, part of my social life. So having that boundary has been huge. So basically, probably around like Christmas Eve or maybe just before, I will post on Instagram that I'm taking a break, which, note to all of you listening, you don't have to do that. You don't have to announce that you're taking a break. It just feels right for me to do that. Also, I think when I post that, it maybe gives other people permission that they don't need, but permission to take that break or question maybe taking a break themselves. So that's why I do that. And then truly, I will just delete everything off my phone. So I delete Instagram, the app, I delete Facebook, I delete Threads, And I just try my best to just fully disconnect from those apps. Make sure though, side note, if you are a content creator, if you're deleting Instagram, make sure that you don't have any drafts saved, or if you do, make sure to save those drafts to your phone with the captions in your notes app so that you don't lose them. I've done that a few times mistakenly. So yeah, taking that break is just so great to kind of clear your mind, give your mind a little bit more breathing room to just relax, be present, enjoy these moments during the holidays without being consumed with everyone else's lives on social media. And yeah, use that time too, if you want to kind of like go through your Instagram feed and maybe start unfollowing, or at least maybe muting accounts that don't make you feel good about yourself. So yeah, it is possible to mute people without unfollowing them. So even if it's, like an acquaintance that maybe just doesn't, their posts just don't make you feel good about yourself, you don't have to unfollow them, but you can mute them. I will admit that sometimes I do this with people that I follow that are in my industry, so in like health and fitness, because I get sometimes the case of comparisonitis where I'm like comparing myself to them and they're doing all these cool, amazing things. And I've gotten so much better at that because I know I'm just running my own race and I try to have my blinders on and not pay attention to what other people are doing. But we are humans and we compare to each other. That's just human nature. So sometimes muting those people, even if it's for a little bit of a phase of time, has really helped me sort of mitigate that comparisonitis. So something to consider. And then maybe start to just be more intentional about who you follow. So I share with my clients a lot, body positive accounts, fitness accounts, nutrition accounts, that type of thing, to start to, if working on your relationship with food and your body and exercise is a goal for you moving into 2024, start following some accounts that sort of talk about that side of things a little bit more, to start to learn, maybe unlearn a little bit of what we've been taught growing up. So if you're interested, reach out to me on Instagram and I can share some of my favorite accounts with you in that regard. Okay, last one, number 6, a fave tip to stay healthy over the holidays: move your body because it helps you feel good, not to punish yourself for the food that you ate. So this might be a big one for those of you that still are working on that relationship with food, with exercise. I know this is a world I lived in for the longest time, so I feel you. If this is you and you think you have to, get up early on Christmas morning and do a crazy hard workout to make room, quote unquote, for all the calories that you're going to consume that night for Christmas dinner, that is a world, again, that I lived in for years. And I'm so thankful to be out of that world now and recognize and understand that food, how we eat and how we move our body, are not mutually exclusive. It just doesn't work that way. We've been taught that way, that, whatever we eat, whatever we put in our body, we have to work off. We have to count those calories. We have to get rid of all the calories we consumed. And that is honestly just a diet culture lie. And so, yeah, for example, we can enjoy a wonderful Christmas meal, whatever that looks like for you and your family, with dessert, if that's something that you enjoy eating, honoring your body and listening to what it craves and what it wants. And we can not work out that day and still be healthy, because if we work on that relationship with food, exercise, in our body, healthy can look all different ways. And for me, healthy equals being able to enjoy my food and not thinking about, oh my goodness, I didn't do a workout today, or oh my goodness, I'm going to have to work this out tomorrow. For me, that was not a healthy way to live. So separating those two, understanding that I can eat a healthy meal and it doesn't mean I have to also do a hard workout, or I can eat a big meal with treats and dessert and it doesn't mean I have to work it off the next day. That to me is my definition of healthy, and maybe your definition is different. which is fine. But I would argue maybe just like, start thinking about it, start considering why you look at food and why you look at exercise the way you do. So, yeah, I would say this is a great time of year to start doing that. And, moving your body during the holidays because it makes you feel good is a great goal as well. I talk about this all the time. Re-examine your why with exercise. If for the longest time, the only reason you exercise, or maybe still now, the only reason you exercise is to like shrink your body, maintain your body size, work off foods that you ate, you're not alone. That is many of us, myself included. I lived that way for a long time. Start to consider other whys for exercise. So maybe it's because you want to feel strong. Maybe you want to keep up with your kids. Maybe you want to have more energy. Maybe you just don't want to feel stiff and sore during the holidays because you're not moving your body as much as maybe when you're working. So focus on those reasons for moving your body throughout the holidays if you can, versus attaching it so strongly to food. And so I have a lot of wonderful ways to work with me in that regard. If you're interested, maybe not during the holidays, but maybe in the new year, if you're interested in having someone to work with that is in the healthcare field, in the postpartum fitness field, that doesn't have a focus on body changes and weight loss, I would love for you to reach out to me. If during the holidays you are looking for something to move your body in a way that just helps you feel better, I do have a PDF guide called Strong at Home Winter available on my website. I can put that in the show notes for you all. It's $49 for 6 weeks of workouts using only dumbbells that you can do from the comfort of your own home, in your pajamas if you want, with your kids around, in the chaos of Christmas holidays. Just something for you that you can do, 10 to 15-minute workouts 1 to 2 times a week to just help you feel a little bit better and prioritize your own needs during this holiday season. So those are my 6 tips to stay healthy during the holiday season. Again, maybe a little bit different than what you might have pictured, but this is my GM. So number 1, just to review, get lots of sleep and rest and don't apologize for it. Number 2, enjoy all your favorite foods minus the guilt. Number 3, ask for help. There's no medal for doing it all yourself. Number 4, set boundaries for yourself and your family and say no to the things that you don't want to do. Number 5, take a social media break or use the time to unfollow accounts that don't bring you joy. Number 6, move your body because it feels good, not to punish yourself for the food that you ate. All right, that's it, everyone. I hope these tips are helpful for you to just start thinking a little bit differently, potentially heading into 2024. I would love to hear from you if any of these resonate. Again, if you want someone to work with in the new year in terms of fitness, getting back into exercise with a non-diet, non-weight loss focus, please reach out to me. I'll put a link to apply to work with me one-on-one in the show notes. And otherwise, have a wonderful holiday with your family, whatever that looks like for you. Wishing you all just a safe, happy, healthy holiday.